Alcohol abuse is the #1 youth drug problem today, according to recent nationwide surveys. The use and abuse of alcohol by young people is an old problem, but there are new concerns based on growing evidence that teenagers start drinking younger, more frequently, in greater quantities, and that the destructive consequences of their drinking are more serious for society and for themselves. Because alcohol is a socially accepted drug, cheaper and easier to obtain than other drugs, and because the penalties for underage drinking are far less serious than for using illegal drugs such as heroin or cocaine, alcohol has emerged as the drug of first choice for increasing numbers of young people. In a recent survey, over 80% of the high school students questioned said that they had had at least one drink in the past year. 20% reported drinking once a week or more. 8% reported drinking 3 or 4 times a week. And nearly 2% reported drinking every day. An estimated 3 million teenagers are problem drinkers. The problem drinker is different from typical teenage drinkers in the way he or she uses alcohol. The problem drinker uses it more frequently, in larger amounts, and usually for the purpose of getting drunk. There are several reasons why young people may abuse alcohol.
One might be to draw attention to problems in the home. Another might be to be accepted by one's friends and drink as they do. Another is that alcohol comes to have a particular effect on them that is a positive effect of eliminating anxiety, temporarily forgetting problems that they cannot solve, dealing with feelings that they really can't handle, and the alcohol suppresses those feelings. The difficulty, of course, is that those feelings come back, those problems come back, those conflicts come back. And if you then take another drink to deal with the return of those problems, and you get that rewarding effect again, little by little you turn more and more toward alcohol as a way of feeling better. But it will always be temporary.
Recognizing the problem and seeking help or treatment are necessary steps for the problem drinker to take. But many experts believe that prevention of alcohol abuse is a necessary step for society to take. A large segment of the public, according to a recent poll, advocates raising the minimum legal drinking age as a first step toward controlling abuse. Since the ratification of the 26th Amendment in 1971, giving 18-year-olds the right to vote, many states moved to grant young people full majority rights, including the right to drink. Between 1971 and 1975, 19 state legislatures lowered the legal drinking age to 18, others to 19 or 20. The rationale was that persons old enough to vote and to serve in the armed forces were old enough to drink. Many people viewed this trend as a realistic and reasonable way to ease young people into a drinking society. The strongest opposition came from highway safety authorities, who feared that the combination of inexperienced drinkers and inexperienced drivers would play havoc on the highways. And indeed, statistics proved them correct, at least partially. There was an increase in fatal accidents involving 18 to 20-year-olds. In reaction, several states raised the legal drinking age. Studies indicate that the car accident rate dropped in those states, and there is strong pressure in other states to raise legal drinking ages. Many other people believe, however, that legal age requirements don't prevent young people from getting alcohol, and that raising the age will only encourage illicit drinking. They contend that teenage drinking merely reflects drinking in our society generally, and that the best way to prevent abuse of alcohol is to educate children about alcohol at an early age, before attitudes, values, and behaviors are fixed. Alcohol education in schools is mandated by law in most states. Many experts believe, however, that in addition to factual knowledge about alcohol and its effects, the alcohol education programs should focus on alternatives to the misuse of alcohol. They maintain that alcohol abuse would decline sharply if young people developed abilities to solve problems, recognize their feelings, cope with anxiety, and achieve greater self-esteem. They believe that in approaching the problem of teenage alcoholism, it is important to keep in mind the fact that most teenagers who drink don't drink too much or too often, and that a substantial proportion of adults drink moderately and safely or not at all. After all, people do what they want to do. The choices of whether to drink, when to drink, and how much to drink rest with the individual, as do the consequences. The decision is yours.